Hi guys, welcome back to Mike Loves Fanfic. So this week about to read a one shot that is NSFW. So I will start reading that one since I can, so that we'll get this thing over with. Uh, First I'm gonna have to find that link. Okay, so this fic now I'm reading, and it's the NSFW fic that I will probably have to read, and it's called Rip Jeans. It is post canon, so this is after season 8. It's a new relationship. There's some grinding, dry humping, dies, and you probably get to see that a little bit. But again, NSW, so read it to your own risk because this is under 18, so be careful. So be careful about this. Okay, so let's read the summary. This. The war is over. He has finally come to terms with his feelings for Lance, and by some miracle, it's mutual. Between missions, he is able to visit Earth for some quality time with his new boyfriend. That's how he finds himself curled up with Lance on his couch, Haley playing with the rips in Lance's jeans, feeling the soft skin beneath. And he really loves his boyfriend's legs. Oh, okay. I want to get this. I want to get this one shot over with because this is a very good thing. So there's some ripped jeans involved, and all right, let's move on with this, okay? All right.
Warning, this one-shot is not suitable for those under 18. Listen at your own risk.
Ripped jeans. He loves traveling through stars. He loves visiting planets and observing new cultures. He loves feeling like he's making a difference, seeing the people smile and hearing the children laugh. He loves his crew and Cosmo and his ship. He loves being out there and doing things. But as much as he loves it, he's very quickly learned that there's one thing he loves more, and that's being right here, pressed up against Lance, having the moment of respite amongst all the go, go, go and work, work, work. Because he hadn't really thought about it when they'd been caught up in the war. Hadn't just assumed he was on edge because, well, the war. Risking their lives, invading the universe, finding his mom, all of those stressful things. Hadn't really thought much about how he always felt better with the team. Just kind of chalked it up to being among friends and with Voltron. He hadn't really realized there was an epicenter to the feeling. Hadn't realized it was Lance. Not until the war was over and he left again. Then he came back and visited and realized how much better he felt whenever he visited Lance. How being around Lance just allows him to breathe, allows him to relax when he hadn't even realized just how tense he had been. Lance just grounds him, gives him a sense of normalcy and comfort that he hadn't known he had needed, hadn't realized he craved. And with that realization came other things, like realizing just how attractive Lance is, how pretty his smile is, how his laugh makes Keith's heart skip, how that cocky smirk of his makes his thumb flip, how seeing his muscles flex in those broad shoulders makes him sweat, how catching a glimpse of his toned and narrow stomach makes heat settle low. He has always been a little slow on the uptake, always been a little hard-headed when it comes to his own feelings. He hadn't even realized they were basically dating until Lance had brought it off with a nervous laugh and a wavering smile that couldn't quite mask the fragile hope in his eyes. And Keith, being Keith, hadn't realized that was exactly what he wanted until Lance said it. And Keith, being Keith, had grabbed him and kissed him hard and fast. Oh, dear. So they're dating, officially. And Keith couldn't be happier, couldn't be more excited to come back to Earth. Loves the fluttering feeling as his ship touches down and revels into the way his heart soars when the Lance throws himself into a hug. Most of all, he loves these easy, quiet moments where he melts against Lance and finally breathes, where every ounce of tension and stress leaks out of him, makes him feel heavy and light all at once, makes him feel grounded and alive and like everything will be okay. Lance is just his stability. His only regret is that it took him this long to notice. He hasn't been back for long. He arrived just that morning, and the whole day has been a whirlwind of Lance dragging him around the garrison, showing off proudly to all his students and making out in hidden corners between classes. He's attending meetings, talking about the latest work the Blade has been doing, and had dinner with Lance's large family. As soon as they got back to Lance's apartment, it had gotten changed and he had collapsed on the couch, lying across the cushions and pulling Lance down the moment he was close enough. Just a few lazy kisses, during which Lance smiled against his lips, ran his fingers gently through his hair, and hummed softly before Lance was settling on the couch in front of him, reaching for the remote and turning on some movie. He isn't sure which. He's not really paying attention. He doesn't really care too. And that's where they are now. Curled up on the couch. The TV is just a buzz of background noise as he curls behind Lance, pressed into all the curves and divots of his body. He nuzzles to the back of his neck, nosing along the curve of it and inhaling deeply before sighing against his skin. Thank God for this Gara senses. Thanks to them, he can truly appreciate just how good Lance smells, letting that scent settle around him, body relaxing, melting further into him. One arm is cushioning Lance's head, but his other hand moves lazily and restlessly up and down Lance's side, feeling the slight curve in it, where it widens for his shoulders, narrows for his hips, and then widens again, just a bit, just enough, for his thighs. He finds his hands often lingering there, fingers coasting across the tight denim, because while he had opted to change into borrowed sweatpants and t-shirt, Lance had changed from his garrison uniform to jeans and a loose tank. It seems like an odd choice. Who puts on jeans, let alone tight jeans, to cuddle on the couch for the evening? But he can't bring himself to complain or even notice his confusion at the choice. But he likes the feeling of the warm denim beneath his fingertips, stretched taut over thighs that are soft enough to grab yet tight with corded muscle. He has always been a fan of Lance's legs, even before his distraction really started to settle in. He had been aware of it, had been able to acknowledge that the guy has legs for days, shapely and strong and smooth. But he hadn't really used his new boyfriend's status touch to explore. And really, what a shame. So it takes that time now. Hand moving slowly but surely, up Lance's side before changing direction and heading down. Down. Lingering over the jut of his hip before following the curve back a bit. Catching just the barest swell of his ass before sliding down the back of his thigh. Reaching the back of his knee before sliding back around forward. And here is where he takes his time, sliding his hand, fingers splayed wide, up the front of Lance's thigh. He pauses whenever his fingers catch on the loose threads around a rip in his jeans. Lets his fingers play with them, twisting around and feeling the edge of the hole, admiring how the flesh of his thighs presses tight against the fabric. And then he lets his fingers move across, taking notice how soft his skin is to touch, how smooth, how Lance's breath hitches, and then his head is moving up again, up his hip, up his side, slipping beneath the hem of his tank to push his palm flat to warm skin, feeling each rib with his fingers. Nearly gets to a nipple. Fingers caressing the bottom curve of his back, loving the way Lance holds his breath before moving back down, over his hip and the curve of his ass. What he can reach anyway, with his own hips pressed tight to that swell, down to the knee before he starts to back up again. It develops a pattern, and it's mindless at first. Simple, slow appreciation for the man in front of him, exploring him in gentle ways that they haven't had much time to do. They made out plenty, hands groping and bodies riding, but they haven't gone much further, and they haven't done anything like this. Nothing so intimate and soft and deliberate. It takes Keith a while to notice. So wrapped up is he in his gentle ministrations and memorizing Lance's soft skin and knee muscles, that after several passes, he starts to pick up on it. On the way, Lance's muscles twitch beneath his palm. The way his breath hitches whenever he pauses over his stomach, following his happy trail to the hem of his jeans before hooking his fingers within the band and trailing them from hip to hip. He feels the soft shudder for his breath more than he hears it, and that draws his attention enough to notice more. Like the way Lance tilts his head, giving Keith more room to nose along his neck and shoulder. The way his back curves, pressing that purr little ass of his blush against Keith's hips, like the way his thighs tremble beneath Keith's slow but sure hands, spreading just a little, just enough, as Keith's hands tipped toward the inseam, sliding up toward his crotch before slipping back around his thigh, and then does it again, making a point to hook his fingers into the ribs as he passes over them, making sure to brush his knuckles gently, teasingly, across the front of his jeans before curving back up to his hip. And Keith can't see it, but he can feel it well enough, even with such a minimal pass. Lance is hard. He's hard, and he's squirmy. albeit minutely and slowly, pressing back against Keith and leaning into his touch. He notices the flush in the tips of his ears, feels the soft hands of his brat against his bicep where Lance's head rests. And that's interesting. Very, very interesting. He tries to take it slow, tries to continue like he hadn't noticed the shift in the room. Tension building the sounds beneath the drone of the movie. Tries to pretend that Lance screaming isn't getting to him. Like he's not paying attention to what he reacts to the most. Like he isn't getting hard with Lance's ass pressed him just right. He tries, and that's what matters. But he's a weak man when it comes to Lance. Lance's thighs are driving him insane. So shapely and trapped in tight denim. Those holes give him Keith just a taste, just a hint at the hole, at what could have. It has Keith's mind running wild with possibilities. Imagining what it would be like if he could dig his fingers into those holes and tear them open. The shred that didn't free those long legs. To hear Lance gasp and feel his shoulder. To have those thighs wrapped tightly around him, strong and sure. To have them bracket his hips as Lance rising hard and fast. To have them wrapped around his head, pressed in as his entire body locks up, spilling into Keith's eager mouth. His hand squeezes, palm flat into one of the holes in Lance's jeans, his fingers digging into his thigh, loving the soft give that ends in hard muscle as Lance tenses, back arching, a soft gasp leaving his lips as he grinds that pretty ass back. He presses his forehead to Lance's shoulder, a shuddering exhale slipping out of him as he uses his groping hand as leverage to grind his hips forward, to seek up friction, letting out a soft moan as pleasure ignites, sending fire searing through his veins, tingling across his skin. They've done this part before. There's always been rush and urgent, an afterthought to their clashing lips and hurried kisses, always seeking relief but never quite able to get there. When they're alone, Lance has been shy, not hesitant but uncertain. All his confidence in that smirk beats against heat in public spaces seeping out of him, leaving him flustered and nervous. It's cute, it's incredibly enduring, and Keith is fairly sure it's because Lance has never been with a guy. He doesn't mind. He likes the slow pace, the gentle lead up. It's not urgent, but it's desperate in its own way, eager in its own way. It gives Lance time to adjust, give him time to explore Lance, gives their bodies time to get to know one another as they steadily build up this fire between them. He's given up the pretense. He sets a new rhythm, his touch never quite going above Lance's hips, content to simply explore his legs, up and down his thighs, to the outside cupping his ass, to the inside lightly brushing against the bulge in his jeans, and smiling when Lance's hips bug against nothing as he pulls away. And because he's a weak man, he set his own gentle grind, rubbing his own hard on against Lance's ass, letting him know just how much he appreciates this body of his, those thighs of his. Kate's so wrapped up in it that it startles him when Lance turns, with him blinking confused and momentarily worrying that he'd gone too far. Until Lance is pressed up against him once more, facing each other. Lance's hands curling the fist in the front of Kate's shirt, and then his lips are on Keith's, hard, firm, and rush, then softening to something gentle, almost hesitant, almost shy, as Keith's arms wrapped around him and Lance melts against him. One of his hands slides to Keith's hair, holding him gently as he tilts his head, opening those sweet lips of his for Keith to push his tongue past, swallowing the soft hum that vibrates in Lance's chest. His body rolls, a deliciously slow and graceful full body grind, with one hand on Keith's hair and the other holding onto his shirt. He groans into Lance's mouth, one arm wrapping around his shoulders and the other sliding down the curve of his back to grab his ass. But his hand doesn't stop there. No, as wonderful as his ass is, he succeeds somewhere else. His hand slides down the back of Lance's thigh, grabbing hard and firmly pulling it up and around his own, locking it around his hip, sliding his own leg between Lance's to stabilize him. Like this, he can feel him. He can feel how hard he is. He can grind their hips together and let Lance feel him. He loves the way Lance shudders, breath comes sharp through his nose, one low in his throat and fingers turning Keith's hair. He knows it's a new sensation, and it must be a strange one. To feel another man hard against you, to grind against another man's cock when you're already achingly hard. But from the way Lance ripped against him, almost uncoordinated in his ears, he must like it. As sloppy as his movements are, uncertain and stiff, he's a fast learner. He's always asking. He only needs to take a hold of his hips to grab his thigh to steady him for a moment, to use his hold to slowly push Lance down on his thigh as he rolls up between Lance's legs. And then Lance picks it up, starts the steady rhythm on his own, more languid and more graceful, relaxing into it as his body starts the sinful grind. It's good, really good, too good, hitting in all the right spots. Stoking that fire that burns hot and low, he feels the coil in his gut, tight and eager as the piece picks up, as he meets Lance's every grind, as he rolls his hips and he bites at Lance's lips and swallows every soft and breath and moan. And the whole time his hand is restless, grabbing his thigh, moving up to his hip, down to his knee. But it's not enough. He wants more, needs more, honestly wants to tear up those jeans, oil up his thighs, and flip them hard as fast before coming all over them, over Land's stomach and chest. But that's too much work, and neither of them are willing to break apart. It's been too quick, too hot, and he desperately just wants release. Once he lands, wants to make him feel good, and doesn't want to interrupt this gentle atmosphere that's going tight, intense, and ready to snap. He breaks their kisses long enough to roll onto his back, grabbing Lance roughly to force him to roll with him. Lance caps, and it takes him a moment to recover, plainly confused as he takes it into position. And that's when Keith finally gets a good look at his face. So pretty with that flush color in his cheekbones, eyes lidded and pupils blown, glassy and dazed, lips red and swollen and glistening as the tongue peeks out to run across it. He hovers above Keith, strangling his hips, propped up too far for Kate to kiss, and that just won't do. His hands find Lance's thighs, running from knee to hip and back down, each hand resting on holes where warm skin pushes through. Come here, he mutters, tilting his chin up, eyes lidded, voice up and commanding. And there, right there, suddenly mischievous igniting Lance's eyes. Those kissed reddened lips curling to that impish smirk, the one that Keith loves so much. The confident one, the cocky one, the one that says he knows exactly what he's doing, and he's living for it. He leans down slowly, makes a nice little show of getting self, lining up their hips before dropping his chest to Keith's, putting his arms on either side of his head and running his fingers through Keith's hair, tilts his head, hovering just above. That smirk still fixed in place. And then he grabs his hips and drags him against hard on as he thrusts up. Lance caps, and Keith leans up to capture his mouth. They settle into it easy, the building rhythm. Lance brightens up against Keith, slow and steady at first, but quickly devolving into an uncoordinated rut, bringing the kiss to pant against Keith's lips, fingers curling Keith's hair, a whine on his tongue as his eyes squeeze shut, and Keith rises up, pushing out to meet his thrust, hands on Lance's thighs, rubbing, pulling, groping, squeezing. Keith, Keith, I'm it's all the warning he gets. Hush and urgent, before Lance's body locks up. It goes rigid, a hitch in his breath followed by a low, drawn-out moan as Ed falls to Keith's shoulder. His hips jerk, weak little thrust through his orgasm. Keith's hand slide around his ass, grabbing tight and dragging Lance against him. Joe Lance overstimulated little gasps. He's so close, right in that edge. Lance leans in, pressed lips just below Keith's ear. Red high and voice heavy says, "Come on, Keith. Come on, baby." It grinds down hard, and Keith's back arches. Fingers tightening against Landon's jeans, tips over the edge. Landon smells Ken's neck, leaving soft little kisses, lazy and slow, as Keith rides out his orgasm, and then he shudders, body going lax as he sighs, eyes falling close. Pressure still vibrating through his veins, even as the sweat dries in his skin and the goes cold and sticky in his pants. It's uncomfortable, but he doesn't mind. Now when Lance is warm and satisfied on top of him. His fingers playing with Keith's hair, and Keith's hands lazily roam Lance's body, much like they had in the start. Slow, lazy movements. From his thighs, up his hips, dipping under his shirt to rub up and down his back. Lance hums, tucking his head under Keith's chin and nuzzling into the crook of his neck. I feel gross, he finally mutters, lips moving against Keith's collarbone. Keith hums, acknowledgement and agreement. We can take a shower. Lance pauses. Jail administration. Some for he lifts his head, his brows are furrowed, lips pursed, eyes that shy sort of uncertain as he says, like, together? Keith huffs a short exhale, a half-born laugh, smiles to Lance as nothing malicious. Yeah, together. That smirk curls slowly but surely, easing up the corners of his lips and chasing away his uncertainty. Shiver runs down Keith's spine, interest making his bent back twitch. There are many things Keith loves about his job, but right now, there's no place he'd be ready. And there you have it, guys. That's the end of that one big, one shot called 13s. So yeah, yeah. We never, we never tried. I never read about no Mikula with clothes on, especially with the jeans. I don't know why jeans is more no make it look sexy for you. Everything that you're wearing sounds so sexy, but not sure my short. I guess I'm short. I don't wonder why my short. You can probably see him on Zoom. The one I'm wearing is like a green short that I wear. I don't know why this short here. Can't see him on camera. This short. I don't know why this short feels so sexy. I think it's real sexy you when you take off the clothes, but I'd rather not do that. But still, that does it for this one shot. And I'm trying to read this whole thing without me laughing, but I did not laugh a bit. But anyways, we're done with that. Next video is going to be a very, very safe pick. I promise you there's going to be a very safe pick for more than that. So who knows? Alright, guys. Bye, everyone.